This is Sarah Hayden. I'm here with Deb Szabo, who's teaching her creative writing class, and we're here because it's National Poetry Month, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Favorite Poem Project. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the project and why people should come?
Okay. Well, first of all, I can't take credit for this idea. It's an idea that was created by Robert Pinsky when he was the poet laureate, and he was working at Boston University, and I took a course with him along with some other teachers. And when he told us about the Favorite Poem Project, some of us got really inspired, and we said, "Oh, we can do that," or at least I said that. And he put out a call for favorite poems all across America, and anybody could Google it, and you could find. He also got a videographer. There are some fabulous videos of people from all walks of life and of all ages reading and reciting their favorite poems and saying why they like them. And it's an incredible snapshot of America, and it's very uplifting to hear all these people explain their different reasons for loving poems. And so this is going to be the 17th year that we've done it in Newburyport. My creative writing class kind of helps me organize it and read through the poems, and then we try to pick a range of poems, a lot of different poems, some old, some contemporary, and a bunch of different readers, some very young. Last year we had a 5-year-old and we had a 103-year-old. And we try to sort of showcase the diversity in Newburyport, what we have of it. And there's more than you might think. And we also often have some poems in different languages when there are people who live in Newburyport whose first language is in English, and some of them have very fond memories of certain poems they were told, for example, as children. And so we love having those people share their poems with a translation, of course. And it's just the audience. There are some really dedicated audience members who come every year, and someone, in fact, emailed me and said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't miss it, did I?" So we have some sort of Favorite Poem Project groupies, which is nice. And we have some participants. I'm not sure when you're going to air this, but if people want to...
Tomorrow night, hopefully.
Oh, we could still probably consider a few more poems if people send some poems in. Maybe you can, I don't know if you can you show that on the... Yeah, so...
And we've had this on the bulletin board.
Right. So if you send it to dsabo@newburyport.k12.ma.us, yeah, they'll be able to show you this. I would still love to have a few more poems, especially if it's a poem that means something to you personally that you really feel a connection with. It really makes you feel close to people to hear them recite their favorite poems and to say what their connection is. It's more fun than it might sound like. People really end up enjoying it. And that's it. We also we've sometimes had the mayor or city councilors or school committee people. We try to get some local celebrities, mm-hmm. Yes. And of course some high school students. They're important too. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. It's a simple idea.
Yeah.
But it really is enjoyable. People really love it, and the firehouse is very kind and gives us a very good deal. So we're able to do it at the firehouse, and it's a nice little celebration of Newburyport too.
So the poem I chose is "Tonight I Can Write the Saddest Lines" by Pablo Neruda. Tonight I can write the saddest lines. Right? For example, the night is starry and the stars are blue and shiver in the distance. The night wind revolves in the sky and sings. Tonight I can write the saddest lines. I loved her, and sometimes she loved me too. Through nights like this one, I held her in my arms. I kissed her again and again under the endless sky. She loved me, sometimes I loved her too. How could one not have loved her great still eyes? Tonight I can write the saddest lines. To think that I do not have her, to feel that I have lost her, to hear the immense night still more immense without her, and the verse falls to the soul like dew to the pasture. What does it matter that my love could not keep her? The night is starry and she is not with me. This is all. In the distance, someone is singing. In the distance. My soul is not satisfied that it has lost her. My sight tries to find her as though to bring her closer. My heart looks for her, and she is not with me. The same night whitening the same trees, we of that time, we are no longer the same. I no longer love her, that's certain, but how I loved her. My voice tried to find the wind to touch her hearing. Another's. She will be another's, as she was before my kisses, her voice, her bright body, her infinite eyes. I no longer love her, that's certain, but maybe I love her. Love is so short, forgetting is so long. Because through nights like this one, I held her in my arms. My soul is not satisfied that it has lost her. Though this be the last pain that she makes me suffer, and these the last verses that I write for her.
The title of this poem is I Wait Close to Morning, and it's by Mary Oliver. Why do people keep asking to see God's identity papers when the darkness opening into morning is more than enough? Certainly, any god might turn away in disgust. Think of Sheba approaching the kingdom of Solomon. Do you think she had to ask, is this the place? And this poem is by Mary Oliver, and I really like it because it reminds me of my experience in Israel this past summer and sort of how the contrast between here, people often question, like, does God exist? Like, where are his identity papers or her identity papers? And in Israel, everyone just kind of accepted that there was a God. And it was a really cool difference than here. So, yeah.
The rain drums down like red ants, each bouncing off my window. The ants are in great pain, and they cry out as they hit, as if their little legs were only stitched on and their heads pasted. And oh, they bring to mind the grave. So humble, so willing to be beat upon with its awful lettering, and the body lying underneath without an umbrella. Depression is boring, I think, and I would do better to make some soup and light up the cave. So basically, this poem is about the author having depression, and I also suffer from depression, as do many people, I think. So I found it a really good descriptor of how it feels. If it's raining and you're in a gloomy environment, you might feel somewhat obligated to just go into that dark place in your mind. But I really like that comical twist she put on the end about kind of joking about it and being a little sarcastic about her depression and how it kind of, she can just change her mindset that quickly. And it also provides a little bit of hope for people.
This is Los Angeles Rental by Keaton Henson. Just to let you know, your house is broken. I used your house and broke all the things. You see, when you said no strings, I took that to mean I could use your things as I would use my own, which often leads to breakage for reasons quite unknown. Though you can ask the neighbors, I was quiet as a mouse, and I didn't set the place alight. Sorry I broke your house. P.S. Don't turn on the oven. And I like that poem because it's humorous. Yeah, the little end note, and I like the rhyme scheme, and I think it's funny.
This poem is called Sleeping in the Forest by Mary Oliver. I thought the earth remembered me. She took me back so tenderly, arranging her dark skirts, her pockets full of lichens and seeds. I slept as never before. A stone on a riverbed, nothing between me and the white fire of the stars but my thoughts. And they floated light as moths among the branches of perfect trees. All night, I heard the small kingdoms breathing around me, the insects and the birds who do their work in the darkness. All night, I rose and fell as if in water, grappling with a luminous doom. By morning, I had vanished at least a dozen times into something better. And I like this poem because it's really serene and it has a lot of good imagery and it's just really calming and I can relate to it.
Life is like a piece of art. It requires a lot of heart. Choose your paint and your brush. Take your time, avoid the rush. Before you paint, choose your theme. Don't be afraid to follow your dream. It's all right to make a mistake. Your painting is real, it's not fake. Look at your painting, don't be crying. Begin again, keep on trying. Your painting is never fully complete. Enjoy the process and make sure it's sweet. I really like that poem because it kind of shows how life is a painting, and it's a lot of work, but you can still get through it. So yeah.
You If No One Else by Villanueva. Listen, you who transformed your anguish into healthy awareness. Put your voice where your memory is. You who swallowed the afternoon dust, defend everything you understand with words. You, if no one else, will condemn you with your tongue, the erosion each disappointment brings. You who saw the images of disgust growing will understand how time devours the destitute. You who gave yourself your own commandments know better than anyone why you turned your back on your town's limits. Don't hush, don't throw away the most persistent truth, as our hard-headed brethren sometimes do. Remember well what your life was like: cloudiness in slick mud after a drizzle, flimsy windows the wind kept rattling in the winter, and that unheated slab dwelling where clothes crawled up your coldness. Tell how you were able to come to this point, to unbar history's doors, to see your early years, your people, the others. Name the way rebellion's calm spirit has served you, and how you came to unlearn the lessons of that teacher, your land's omnipotent defiler. And so I liked this poem because I felt it was really empowering to use your words in order to fight for what you believe in.
This Morning by Mary Oliver. This morning the redbird's eggs have hatched, and already the chicks are chirping for food. They don't know where it's coming from. They just keep shouting, more, more. As to anything else, they haven't had a single thought. Their eyes haven't yet opened. They know nothing about the sky that's waiting, or the thousands, the millions of trees. They don't even know they have wings. And just like that, like a simple neighborhood event, a miracle is taking place. I chose this poem because it's about the birth of animals, which is interesting to me, and it showed the birth of something in a new light.
So this is called Excursions by Keaton Henson. So, no more staying indoors, there are battles to build and cities to burn, carpets to muddy and waking to earn, someone, something, and some things to learn. Come now, no more staying indoors. There will be no more staying indoors, less of the longing, the ardent lust, more of the breathing, in breathing we trust, more of the beating of hearts in the dusk, no more staying indoors. Here now, no more staying indoors, there are fears to affrighten and pockets to fill, dreams for forgetting and hopes to be killed, words to be written and written but still, it's awfully warm here indoors. I think it's just very abstract and different. It talks about nature. I like it. Yeah. Thank you.
Guidelines by Rena Espaillat. Here's what you need to do since time began. Find something, diamond rare or carbon cheap, it's all the same, and love it all you can. It should be something close, a field, a man, a line of verse, a mouth, a child asleep, that feels like the world's heart since time began. Don't measure much or lay things out or scan. Don't save yourself for later. You won't keep. Spend yourself now on loving all you can. It's going to hurt. That was the risk you ran with your first breath. You knew the price was steep. That loss is what there is since time began subtracting from your balance. That's the plan. Too late to quibble now. You're in too deep. Just love what you still have while you still can. Don't count on schemes. It's far too short a span from the first sowing till they come to reap. one way alone to count since time began. Love something, love it hard, now, while you can. This is one of my favorite poems because, well, for one thing, Rina Espaillat is one of my idols, really my main idol. I actually have this poem painted on my classroom wall, and I love it. I love the form of it. It's a villanelle, which is a beautiful form, but she takes some liberties with it, which is just like Rina, and I like taking liberties with rules too. And I think it's a beautiful poem with a very simple and yet very profound message. And it just brings a tear to my eye and a smile to my face at the same time, which is something poetry can do.
I have to say, it was so moving, and it was just so great to hear them saying their poems. I just was very inspired. And I mean, that's the truth. Like, I do want to come see that show, but we do have Earthport Film Festival that day, which is it's competing. And I didn't know it was the Poem Project, or maybe Elizabeth and I might have thought of something different, but we didn't know that. They just said there's something else happening beforehand, but it's you guys. But I can, I don't know. I'm hopeful that we'll get some students or develop something where we can have more poetry on the radio, because I just thought it was so great to hear them. They're so emotive, and it was really great. So I am very excited about the project, but also about what more we can do in the community to support the poetry. And of course, it's National Poetry Month, which is what got us started to begin with. And maybe we can continue to build on, not just this project, but maybe do a few more things for the channel or on the radio.
That would be great. And for anyone listening, the Favorite Poem Project has always, for the past 17 years, been the last Sunday in April. So you can mark your calendar. We've sometimes had different times, 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, but it's always been the last Sunday in April. So presumably that'll keep going.
Yeah. No, it's great. I really think I would love to hear more poetry. It really was great. So check out the your favorite poem afternoon, Sunday, 2 o'clock, April 28th. It's going to be great, and we will have some poems from the students following this, and then we will replay them as well, so you can hear them several times. All right, thanks, Deb.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.